a single car team.
Brad Keselowski won this race.
Daytona 500. And Delano, they're the Wood brothers. Oh my goodness. First win in 10 years.
Side by side. Come on, Norm. Hangs on.
Norm was not going to be denied.
And we did it. Yeah!
Hola, senoritas. Welcome to the Also Ran broadcast. We're so happy to have you back here with us again. Seriously though, thank you for showing back up. You're probably just here because on the thumbnail that we're going to have, you're going to see that we're interviewing Mini Tyrrell. And it was a fantastic interview. Got to learn a little bit more about Mini, got to learn a lot more about the Cars Tour. If you're a racing fan and you're not a fan of this kid, what the heck is wrong with you? I mean, his story is how people find like a new driver to pull for. I myself, I've been a Mopar Dodge Ram guy for quite some time now. Dude Space Studios is adorned with Scat Pack and Mopar and old school Dodge tins, and you can see the Casey Kane stuff behind me, Bobby Allison stuff. I was super stoked when Ram was coming back, and now everything Ram has been doing to get back into the show with the race for the seat, which Mini won, the free agent program where they're bringing in a secret race driver every race that they're in. Y'all, this hype is what it's about, and Ram's doing it. Obviously they want to garner attention for themselves, but if you're a fan and you're not excited about this, then come on, man. There's sexy Ram 1500s on track again.
Hey, I'm stealing y'all away from other Derek for a second so I can tell y'all about our brilliant sponsor, Gray Before Shave. Gray Before Shave offers everything you could possibly need for your hair up there. They've got oils, balms, butters. They've got waxes for your mustache, shampoo, conditioner. There's so much stuff. I don't have the time to sit here and tell you about everything. Head over to their website, graybeforeshave.com. See something you like, take it to the checkout. Before you check out, apply the code ALSO-RAN for 15% off your purchase. If you're undecided on which scent is right for you, they have an excellent bundle of oils that has one of each of their brilliant scents. I prefer the Pumpkin Smash. My wife absolutely loves their brand new Liquid Gold. It smells like adult bubble gum. That's the only way I can think to describe it. So head over there, graybeforeshave.com. Find something you like, check it out, use our discount code ALSO-RAN for 15% off. You won't be disappointed. Now, back to that other handsome bearded fella.
Producer Josh, are you there?
I'm here. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, man? How do you feel about that interview? Were you happy? Did I go too long? Were you excited? Did you learn a lot?
Oh yeah, well I learned a lot. I didn't know a whole lot about Mini other than him winning the truck ride, and I mean yes, it is long. I've been callous to it throughout the years of being friends with you, but it was a good conversation. I mean, you covered all sorts of good topics from his nonprofit and all the good things that he's done, long before he's been in the spotlight. So that's really cool to see, and all of his short track racing that has ultimately got him to the truck opportunity that he's doing now, and some cool stories about Tony Stewart. So I loved it. I thought it was a great conversation. I think everybody's going to like it too.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. If you're not a fan of Mini yet, hopefully you will be after you learn a little bit more about him.
Yep.
Without further ado, it was a lengthy interview. I should have probably had a camel pack with a straw over my shoulder for it, but that's okay. I'm going to get out of here so I can go hit the head. Ladies and gentlemen, Mini Tyrrell.
My name is Mini Tyrrell. I live in Mineral, Virginia, and I'm 21 years old.
Coming up on my old house, I grew up. This is where I lived my 20 years of life.
Right there.
I grew up in the city of Manassas. My grandfather was a racer and my father was a racer. So from, 4 to 8 years old, I was in and out of go-karts every weekend. From go-karts and did arena racing cars, which was like little half-scale stock cars. And from there, went on to late model stock cars at 9.5 years old. I joined the Cars Tour as soon as I could. And I've been there ever since I've been 14.
Well, today I had the opportunity to meet the Laguna family.
I have a 501c3 nonprofit organization. It's called Minnie's Mission, Burn Rubber to Help Another.
They were in desperate need of a van to haul them around and take them places, so we got them a van.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Also Am broadcast. I'm just going to get straight into it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Minnie Tyrrell. Minnie, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I am fantastic, man. I'm just living the dream out here, sitting in my Dude Space Studios. Got you. I'm assuming you're in the new house?
Yes, I am. And might I compliment you on your studio? It's doing a little better than mine. I'm still trying to get some wall art up, but I can't really see it. But I got my college racing flag hanging above me.
Well, no, look, I mean, in your defense, you've been in that house, what, maybe 2 months, something like that?
Yeah, around that, 2 to 3 months now. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 months in your house, I've been in this one for like 20. So, and it took getting rid of 2 of the kids before my wife said, okay, darling, you got all that stuff all saved up in the closet and the attic. You can go ahead and make your little man cave. I said, no, it's not a man cave. It's a dude space.
Exactly.
The difference between a dude space and a man cave is I don't have like a $20,000 pool table, but
right. My girlfriend's already on me about the desk I got. I just bought me a desk so I could put in here and do my work. And I have a little desk over, in the corner with my keyboard and my iRacing simulator set up. And she's a little angry because it's crowding the space. So I said, "This is my room. Let me have my room."
That's right. As you said, she is girlfriend. So once if girlfriend ever gets to fiancé or wife stage, then she can have a little bit more say so in the situation. Right. That's when you got. That's the point in time where you learn that there's this magical phrase called "yes, dear," and it solves so many different issues.
I've learned that already. So that's everything is yes, dear. Yes. Yep. And life is great. Happy wife, happy life. So
yeah. Well, I've been married over that many years. It's been a lot of years. It's been almost 3 decades.
Congratulations. That's a milestone.
Oh yeah, dude. Like you see these people come home from war and they've got all kinds of there's a lot of PTSD. You can't see all my injuries. But thank you. Anyway, let's get to talking about you. We got you here for a reason. So Minnie Tyrrell, because I know you did the Cars Tour, but there's so much more to Minnie Tyrrell leading up to the Cars Tour, because when I was looking up stuff on who you were and where you came from, man, you started young. You were like a mini when you got started racing, huh?
Yes, I'm kind of graduated to a medium, I guess, is where I'm at. I'm not the tallest guy if you see me, but that was way back mini right there. That was a mini, was truly mini, but the name just stuck. Yeah,
that like seeing all this stuff and the different types of racing you did. There's some weird racing series out there that I didn't even know existed. What was that stuff you did indoors and it looked like it was on aluminum track?
Yeah, so basically, I started racing at the age of 4 years old, and I was probably 5 or 6 in that picture there. But I started racing at 4 in go-karts, and this kind of story happened. I grew up in the city of Old Town Manassas in Virginia, and they had a racetrack that was like a mile down the road from my house called Old Dominion Speedway. And my dad raced there. He raced U cars there, and I'm sure you've heard of the U car series
No.
before. Well, it's a small like short track series that the Saturday night guys do, and U car actually it stands for You Can Afford Racing, and that was founded at Old Dominion Speedway by my father and Dickie Gore at the time, who owned Old Dominion Raceway. So that's kind of where I grew up, and my dad was a racer and took me to the go-kart track one weekend, and he said, hey, you want to try this? Because I grew up around the shop, which my father owns an automotive repair business. So I was always at the shop with him, and I loved cars, loved racing. He was a racer, and he asked me if I wanted to try, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So went from doing that at the age of 4, and then just took it and ran with it, and did arena cars, is what you were asking, was the series that was the little indoor cars. And those are basically what it's just a mini cup car, which is another one of those kind of short track Saturday night, little cars that they race. But it was a series that was called arena racing that started out of, it actually originated out of Hampton, Virginia, close to the Langley Speedway in the Langley Coliseum. So they actually had that track, set it up in there, and it moved to Richmond when I got into it, and I did it in Richmond. So went through a variety of different cars and in go-karts, which I was very, very fortunate enough that, my father was in a position when I was that age to allow me to go race and kind of get the experience when I was young. And eventually I set foot in a late model stock car at the age of 9 years old, and did 2 races at 9 and turned 10, and went back the next season and competed in a full-time year in the late model at Shenandoah Speedway, winning 2 races and second in points that year, and then went back for the following 2 years and won 2 championships in a row at Shenandoah Speedway.
And something else, like we're going to get back to your racing career, but something else I want to touch on so when I was looking up stuff to talk about with you and things from your past, one of the first things that caught my attention, because there's this thing in the world, and I'm sure it exists for a reason, because I don't think any of us are in a place to question the Almighty and the things that happen around us. We're put in circumstances and situations for reasons. And I think the resolve that we have to get through these situations kind of speaks a lot about who we are. And so you had a friend that had cancer, and the end result was Minnie's mission. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So when I was 6 years old, a lifelong friend of my father's is Ryan Day. Had been his best friend since kindergarten, and they grew up together, and obviously maintained friends, and we became family friends with them. So when I was 6, we were over at the Day's house, and Ryan has a daughter named Ella, and I was overhearing Ryan and Dad talk about the struggles, and I knew that Ella had gotten diagnosed with cancer. I didn't know much about it. Obviously, I was 6 years old, only processing as much as a 6-year-old could at that time. But I overheard Ryan kind of speaking about expenses and how difficult it was dealing, with Ella and her struggles that she was going through with battling cancer. And, I went home that same night, and I kind of sat down at the dinner table with Dad, and I said, this is, that's terrible. I want to do something to help Ella and help other families that are going through the same kind of thing. And so I used my go-kart at the time was the tool. Like, I was in go-karts, and I said, hey, why don't we go to the racetrack and get people together and start gathering donations to benefit childhood cancer. And that's kind of how Minnie's mission started. She was 7 years old. That's Ella right there on the homepage of minniesmission.org, which I encourage everybody to go check out. Some really cool stories, and tells the same story I'm saying right now. But so yeah, Ella was a huge part in making Minnie's mission happen, and that's kind of what started it. So luckily to say, now Ella's been cancer free for it's been now 16 years, I believe, which is phenomenal. So glad that she's doing great to this day, and we still remain in contact with the Days. Ryan just saw him over this past weekend. So just really, really awesome stuff. And I worked with a variety of little organizations kind of in my community that like the Jeffrey Rossick Foundation, and they hosted walk run events where I went, and the money I donated would give it to them. And when I turned 8 years old, I was on NBC Nightly News, and Jeff Gordon caught wind of the story. And Jeff Gordon has his own Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation where he does based on cancer research for children. Built a hospital. He's a inspirational guy to myself, somebody I look up to every day, and strive to be like him and have my own hospital. That's always been a goal of mine. But he invited me out to Martinsville Speedway, and I went there and walked through the tunnel and looked around and got to hang out with him. And he actually matched the $7,000 and some change that I had raised to that point, and wrote me a check right there to keep on helping people. So that's kind of what kicked it off, and it became Minnie's Mission Burn Rubber to Help Another. And I just continued to take that every year and do something. We got involved with kickball tournaments, and it was something that the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation did. So every year in September, we do a kickball tournament, and we get everybody in the community, family, friends, to create a team and get together and play kickball. And we ended up raising like over $30,000 every year doing that. So and Jeff would actually personally match every amount we raised with the kickball tournament. So that was a huge part in raising as much money as we have with Minnie's Mission. And now it's I've still stuck to it to this day. And our big event every year is the Minnie's Mission 125 at Dominion Raceway in the car store, where we bring 30 families from Walter Reed Hospital in Maryland, who are all either have a child that's either currently battling cancer or recovering from childhood cancer. And we give them a full expense-free weekend of fun. We do a lake day at my house in Virginia, and my parents live there now on Lake Anna. And we take them Friday night and have a dinner, and they get paired with a driver. So each and every driver in the car store gets a family for that weekend, and we get to take them there and kind of give them a tour. And on Saturday we ride them around in the race cars in the passenger side and just do a lap or so, and then they get to watch the race and everything. So it's a really cool thing we do. We raise a bunch of money every year when we do it, and it's awesome that I'm able to give back to some of the foundations and charities that are near and dear to my heart towards the end of the year, and get to help people. That's what Minnie's Mission is all about: quality of life and childhood cancer.
Yeah. Amen. Lord knows that those children, they need as much comforting, and their parents need a lot of help too. And so, I'm going to beat a dead horse with this, but one of the things that I always say is that, we're here for a reason, and you doing what you're doing with Minnie's Mission, it's phenomenal. And, I've been blessed and fortunate to where I've never personally, had any family members or any loved ones that had to battle cancer. But, I see the pictures of the children in the hospital and stuff. We're Corey LaJoy fans here. And when Corey LaJoy teamed up with Team Nigu and was delivering joy jars to kids in the hospital just to kind of help them struggle through, there's a lot of people that want to invest money into curing things, but, let the multi-billion-dollar corporations, if they see fit to do that, let them do that. I think what you're doing and what what Team Nigu does in honor of Jesse Rees. And then, you know, the Petties with the Victory Junction gang. I think that's what means more, I think, because you, even perfectly healthy people, we have no idea how much time we have. And so the more
100%.
you can fill, you know, your time with love, joy, and happiness, you know. So thank you for doing that. And
it's my pleasure. That's like you said, you know, amen. That's absolutely right. And I'm a pretty Christian guy myself, and it's definitely a blessing that I am able to do that. And it's not, you know, my money personally that I'm setting forth. I try to give a little bit as much as I can here and there, but it's all the people that I try to rally and bring together that, you know, donate to the cause. And everyday people that do it, they you know, go check out minismission.org. If you can donate a penny. I always had a saying from ever since I was a kid is that every cent counts and every cent mattered, and it all went to helping others in need. So that's always what I've loved to do. I mean, we're not a 501c3 organization that is a profit organization. We don't have paid employees. It's me, it's my mom and dad, and it's a handful of volunteers that help me put these things together and do these things. So that's what I like to do. You know, every thing down to the cent is going towards benefiting somebody that is truly in need of it. And, you know, me and my father were actually talking the other day, and he got off the phone with a lady who was going through some hard times with her son, and her son needing to have an eye removed, and there was just all kinds of stuff. He had a stroke, and he's only 11 years old, you know, so I had called and talked to her, kind of got the story as well, and seen if there was ways that, you know, we can help with Minnie's mission. But that's the kind of stuff that, like, you know, my dad called me and he's like, look, dude, like me and you have no problems. Like our life is great. You know, we're both healthy. Everybody's healthy in our family. And that's a blessing enough to wake up and be like, hey, you know, today's a great day. There's a reason that you're here. There's a reason I'm here. And, you know, obviously, like you said, you never know, even being healthy, how much time you have, and you don't want to take any day for granted. So anything that I can do that, you know, helps put it towards somebody that is truly in need, that's what I like to do. And I don't have a ton of time to do it, but I try to do it as much as I can, just because, you know, I'm fortunate enough. I'm living a dream of a life, you know, at the moment, driving in the truck series, and my life is great. So it gives me the opportunity to kind of use my platform and use the racing world as an avenue to try to rally everybody together and do nice things for people.
Yeah. Now, speaking of living the dream, so you go from racing in karts and then doing the arena thing. Eventually, what's the time frame from that to getting into the cars tour and doing the late model stuff?
Yeah, so when I had jumped into the late model series, like I said, I started at Shenandoah Speedway and raced a bunch there, and ended up winning like 15 races in the late model there, and went on to win the Thanksgiving Classic when I was just turned, I think it was 12 that year. It was a limited late model race, and raced at Carteret County Speedway when I turned 13 for a full season, and had a lot of success there as well. And as soon as right at that time frame when I was kind of 13 turning 14, that was when the Cars Tour was starting to get a big name for itself. Like, it started out as a kind of a small touring series, and again, this is before like the big social media push, right? Like, everything is so social media driven now, which is great. It's a great tool to promote what you're doing, and you can make something that you just start so big so fast. And the Car Store kind of did it slowly but surely, and they got to a point where it was, you know, when it was owned by Jack McNelly, and that was like, hey, this is the late model series to racing. Like, it was taking all the really good local guys that ran for track championships and ran in the NASCAR regional series, and was like, hey, this is a series where all the really good guys are going and racing. And that's what started the fire underneath the car store. So as soon as I turned 14, that was the age that I had to be to race a late model stock in the car store. So they actually did one and one only to this day. The car store's only done one limited late model race. So I went and started one at the age of 13 at Tri-County Motor Speedway, and ended up qualifying the outside pole, was real fast, and then got into a wreck and with some lap traffic, and it just ended our day. But anyway, enough of that. It was the next year I went back and turned 14 and competed full time in 2019, and ended up winning Rookie of the Year in 2019, and just stuck with it. We went car store racing from that point forward, and now last year was my fifth full-time year. And in 2022, I took half a year off and did some local racing at Dominion Raceway, and then went back to running the car store halfway through that. So I just stuck with it, ran every year, and continued to progress. And I owe a lot of thanks to the car store for a lot of the skill set that I've learned just racing with so many of those really, really good stock car guys. And that's continuing to this day. It is still, I think, the best touring series for late models in the country. And you won't find stronger competition in many other racing series that you go to.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we were excited to get you on the show, because producer Josh and I have talked about being the Also Ran broadcast, and there's so many more Also Ran Underdog stories out there than there are all these bright neon sign light bulb stories that you see on Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night on the broadcast channels. And that it kind of caught our attention because with people like Dale Jr. being involved with the car store, and Kevin Harvick doing what he's doing, especially at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway or Speedway or whatnot. And then I think the level of that talent too, and to kind of coincide with the mention of underdogs and also Rans, that was kind of put on display when Ram was doing Race for the Seat. And I didn't mean to jump that far ahead, but having watched that and seeing just where there was 16 of y'all there, I believe. 15,
yeah, including
15?
myself.
So,
yeah.
I mean, and then the diversity in the background between y'all. How did you even get, like, did Ram put something out like months and months ahead of time where you had to apply to get chosen for the show, or what was that process?
Yeah, so it's funny because it's like you said, Dale Jr.'s involvement and Kevin Harvick's involvement with the car store. And obviously the car store is owned by now Junior, Kevin Harvick, Justin Marks, and Jeff Burton, which what that did for the car store was huge. And Jack McNally, which was the previous owner, did a phenomenal job with the series. Racing with Jack was always great. It was a very family-based series, and still is to this day. Everybody knew each other. Everybody was friends. We all traveled to the same racetracks. We all hung out. After the race, if we got into it on the racetrack, people would sit down and, have a beer, and everything was fine. So, and that's kind of the same way it still is, but getting bought by those guys and them using their platform to blow up short track racing the way they did was major. And I owe so many thanks to those guys, because without that happening and without them getting involved and in making the car store what it is, and holding it on the pedestal, getting it on Flow Racing, getting it to be one of the biggest series that so many people watch, and getting the people in NASCAR who love NASCAR, which are great, the fans of NASCAR, but to say, hey, pay attention, this is short track racing. This is really awesome racing that's happening here too, that a lot of guys like myself, they came from, don't have a ton of money. They are, can't go race at the higher levels, but they're extremely talented drivers that could do it. And this is a series they're racing in. So it brought a lot of eyes and a lot of attention to guys like myself that ran the car store. And that's kind of what blew it up. And, the past 2 years, 2024 and 2025, I had my best 2 seasons ever and finished third in the points in 2024 and tasted victory lane so many times. I was so close in 2024. I wanted to tear my head off because I think I finished second like 2 or 3 times. But was always competitive. And then 2025, I think that fire just kind of rolled over into last year. And I immediately, second race of the season, led every lap flag to flag at Wake County and ended up winning the race. And then went on to win 2 more races that year and actually sat on the pole 4 times, which I never didn't sit on the pole once in 2024. And I had like 2 car store poles previously and 1 win before that. And I didn't think I kind of ran out of confidence. I was like, man, I'm just trying, but I just can't seem to pull it off. And last year it was like a breakthrough year. Like everything was going our way, winning races, super fast cars every week, thanks to Brandon Butler and all the guys with Timmy Tower Racing. And that's kind of what elevated me a little bit and said, hey, I'm doing good, winning races, running up front, and thought I was a pretty good race car driver at the car store. But I actually ended up getting a phone call at South Boston, which was towards the end of the year. I think it was September. It was right after my 21st birthday last year was when we ran South Boston Speedway. And I remember exactly where I was when I got the phone call. I was sitting in the middle of the turns 1 and 2. We were waiting to push the car through pre-qualifying tech inspection. And I'm sitting there talking to Brandon, and Chris Rice calls me, and it was a North Carolina number, and I can't remember what area code his number's at, whether it's still in the South Boston area where he grew up or not. But he gives me a phone call, and I saw it because I get all kinds of spam calls. I didn't know if it was spam or not, but I answered it. It looked familiar, so I said, "Hello, this is me, Tyrrell," and Chris says, "Hey, this is Chris Rice," and colleague racing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know who you are. And my crew chief Brandon actually had worked with Chris Rice in the past, and they were friends and kind of knew each other throughout the years. And I think he actually ended up calling Brandon and somewhat giving him a rundown, but Brandon never really spoke to me about what was going on. And so yeah, he called me and said, hey man, we've been watching you and doing good in the car store and wanting to, as you saw, Ram is coming back to NASCAR in the truck series, and we're doing this show, and it's going to be, he's like, I don't know how many of you guys, and I don't know what it's going to consist of yet, but are you interested in doing it? You got a chance, if you win, to drive a NASCAR Craftsman truck full time next year for colleague racing and Ram. And I was like, say no more. That's all I needed to hear. I'm in, no matter what it is, I'll do it. So he ended up setting me up with the production company who produced the show, and I got online, did a Zoom interview with them, and they were stoked. And it was kind of crazy because this production company is owned by Dana White, and they had nothing to do with racing. Like all the producers, everybody didn't know anything about racing. So when they did it, it was like they took in their background. I'm sure you've seen the Ultimate Fighter. That's what that production company produced. And so they were into fights, right? Like nothing racing. So when we did it, like the show, that was like, they did a great job. They killed it. I mean, it was awesome. And for them to go from no motorsports and having to make a whole show about racing, they did a great job with it. But yeah, that's how I got the phone call. And yeah, went on the show. It was filmed and ended up winning, which was incredible. It's totally changed my life.
Yeah. No, I mean, when Ram announced they were coming back, a lot of people automatically are like, oh, well, Ram's coming back. When's Dodge coming back to the Cup? Dude, take it one step at a time. Can we not appreciate that there is going to be a Ram truck? Like, because at the time, when they first announced it, there wasn't a tremendous amount of information put out, but there's going to be a Ram truck. racing against the Silverados and what the F-150s. And I'm sorry, there's going to be Ram 1500s racing out there with Chevy Silverados and Toyota Tundras and whatnot. Was that even anything like when they announced the trucks were coming in? Was that prior to you getting that phone call from Chris Rice?
It was. And that was like you're probably asking me, like, did you expect any of it? And I saw it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like I grew up in automotive and I worked on every vehicle manufacturer you can think of, but one of my favorite trucks to work on was Rams. I loved working on Rams. They were and doing the diesel with the Cummins engines and stuff like that. Like that was super cool, learning how to work on a truck, and doing it with Ram, whether it was suspension or, just regular maintenance with oil changes and doing fuel filters with the Cummins diesel engine, stuff like that. Like that was my favorite thing. So I was a Ram fan, like before this deal. Like I liked whatever, but Ram was like something that was really cool. And seeing them come back, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And when they announced it and I saw the picture of what the Ram body was going to look like in the truck series, I was like, that is the best looking truck series body that I've ever seen. Like sure, you got the Chevys, you got the Toyotas, you got the Fords. I mean, they looked okay. But when I saw the Ram nose and the Ram front end, I was like, dude, that is smack like the real truck that you see driving down the road. And B, I was like, man, that is it just looks mean. It looks intimidating. It looks like it's ready. Like I was like, that is cool. But no, there wasn't a thought in my mind that was like, oh, you're going to be driving one of those. Like I never thought of that. I was just like, oh, okay, they're coming back. That's awesome. Like I can't wait to watch it. Like I wasn't a huge. It's funny enough. Like I didn't watch much NASCAR. I was so engulfed in the short track world, which was my bread and butter, that I didn't really watch the Sunday races as much. But yeah, that was definitely kind of a surprise when that happened. And even when I got the call for the show, like I wasn't sitting there expecting like, oh, I'm going to win. Like I never went into the show thinking like this is going to happen. Like I never kind of expected I needed to figure out a place to live. I needed to move down. This is a full-time job. I'm leaving my family's automotive repair business. I never thought any of that before I went on the show. I was like, I'm going to go out there and be me, be myself, be mini Tyrrell and just show the world what I can do. Hopefully show them I'm a pretty good race car driver and just kind of go from there. You know what I mean? And it ended up happening, ended up winning. And it was like, whoa, like when I finally got back to the hotel they had us staying in when the show was done being filmed, it like realization set in. Like I didn't sleep that whole night. Then when I found out I won, like I didn't. I was so adrenaline packed, and I'm sure the fans have watched the show and you see me in episode 8 where I'm looking like I'm about to throw up watching a Carson Ferguson race. And it's true. Like I was sitting there like, oh my God, like this might actually happen. And I'm surprised I didn't pass out, to be honest. Like that was probably the most nerve-wracking point in my life, because I was like, okay, like this is really a possibility here. And the thing that kept on going through my head was like, it was such like my father and my family and my parents have sacrificed so much their entire life to see me live my dream and see me be a race car driver and want me to be a race car driver. They wanted me to be successful. And, obviously still with the help of my partners in the late model side, that we were literally scraping by week, the whole 2025 season. And I'm sure you've heard the story. Like I won the Throwback Classic last year. That was the car store's biggest paycheck win of $50,000. And I literally going into that race, like I strapped those belts on thinking that was probably going to be it for the rest of the year. Like I might've been able to come back for the last 2 or 3 races. But I for sure wasn't going to be able to go to the next 2 or 3. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was behind on an engine bill. I needed to pay a graphics bill. I had a lot of stuff that I was really struggling to do. And I mean, the rain came throughout that weekend. We actually ended up racing on a Sunday night at like 9 p.m. And then I had to pay for another night of accommodations for my team. And I was bleeding out. I was like, it's either I'm going to run in the top 3 and collect a little, enough money to maybe get to the next race. Probably not, but at least I'll be able to catch up. And, I don't like being behind on bills. I was like, at least I'll pay everything I owe off and go to the next races and continue to try to do it. But ended up winning. Like, I ended up winning the race. I didn't think I was going to. We were starting 9th and played it really smart. That big wreck happened, and I was skipped by like a half a car length. I mean, you can watch it in the big wreck on the front straightaway. And it's literally like the grace of God. I was watching over that car when that wreck happened and completely unscathed and ended up winning the race. I remember crossing the line. As soon as I crossed the finish line, I just immediately I broke down. Like my dad had to go back to work or had to go back home because he had to be at work Monday morning. So none of my family was really there. Like my girlfriend was there with me, but that was like as soon as I crossed the line, I was like, oh my God, like I can continue to race this season. And that was for me. Like I'm a racer. I love doing it. It's not just a job for me. Like this is my dream. I love race cars. I want to be a race car driver. I enjoy it. It's my happiness. And that's, I broke down crying because I was like, I did it. Like I won. I was like, the only thing that's stopping us from that and the funds is getting through the tech shed. And, had the best engine builder in the late model world, Billy Banks. And I knew we were good. I knew our car was 100% legal. We got through and it happened. So and I think that win really put me on the map too of like, hey, this is kind of a prospect that can move up in the higher ranks in NASCAR. And I think that kind of projected me as well of catching Chris Rice's eye in college racing to say, hey, this is an option for the show. So just so thankful for everything that's happened to me and the way it's happened. It's like all the stars aligned and very unexpected. Like it was very unexpected, but it happened and I couldn't be more thankful for everything that's happened. It's like every day is I wake up and I thank God, man. It's every day is a blessing being able to do this.
Yeah. And I think one of the most important things too, first of all, producer Josh may add it in post-production, but I think the race you're speaking of, if it's the same one, they interviewed you Saturday before the race, I think maybe during a rain delay or whatever. And you seemed kind of defeated because you were talking about the other cars, maybe the other cars had gotten wrecked or something the weekend before, the race before or something. And so you were down to like that last car, and then Sunday you win.
Yeah. So we had two race cars at the time. And the one car that we took to Hickory it didn't get demolished, but it got all tore up at Caraway Speedway the previous race. And it got the whole horns and front end knocked off of it. And we were contending for a win. We were running on the outside in second and got wrecked. And that sucked. And then our other car that we ran it at Ace, but this was months prior to this race. And it got tore up at Ace and got the front end all damaged up and knocked the horns and ductwork out of it. And I hadn't had the money to fix the car. I was putting it into the other one that we were running, and it was running really well. And the other car sat there. So I knew if we tore this one up again bad enough, we weren't going to be able to go to the racetrack anymore. But we scraped it. Like I said, I scraped the money together and was able to fix it from Caraway to Hickory. And that's why I was so kind of trajected. I was just upset because I knew that we had another car that was sitting there that still was damaged and in pieces. And I didn't know what the future was going to hold.
Let's go! Let's go!
Mini Tyrrell, $50,000 richer, the winner of the Throwback Classic here at Hickory. How did you survive all of that and get to park it here and take home $50,000?
Man, I got to give all the credit in the world to my team and Brandon Butler, Hippie, Dan, Colin, my mom and dad, everybody that is a part of this team and keeping me together on this thing and getting this race car to go so fast. Man, I just can't thank them enough. And Brandon the whole time and Hippie were nothing but the best to me the whole time. Brandon told me, hey, the 97, he called it. He said he's going to run up to 7, and he's been doing it every restart and tried to do it to us down there and survive that. And man, I thought we were good. I didn't know that we were better than them, but we were in the right place at the right time and dodged a bullet and stayed out front. And I guess Caden jumped the start, and that put him to the back. I thought it would have been a really interesting race between me and him. He was also really good, but man, when we cooled down there on that red flag, we just took off like a rocket, and this thing just came to life, man. So I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. I'm like wanting to cry, wanting to smile, wanting to yell. I don't know what to say, man. I've never had this big of a purse before, and it's definitely the biggest one of my career by far. And I'm on cloud 9, man. I'm on cloud 9.
Speaking of crying, right before we started this, you took a call from your dad.
I am so proud of you. I love you. Enjoy this time.
I love you too, buddy. I love you guys so much. Thank you for everything you do for me.
I would never stop doing it for you. You're my best friend.
You're right, too. Love you, Mom. I love you, Mom. Tell Gammy and Tyrrell I love you, too.
Love you.
Why did that phone call hit you so hard?
Man, it's just because me and my dad, man, that's my best friend. My mom and my dad, dude, they work their absolute tails off constantly. I mean, since I got into racing, since my father was a racer, to see me succeed, they wanted the best for me. And I'm so happy that I can kind of give him what he's worked so hard for me for, all these years and get a couple victories. And, this is third on the year, which blows my mind, because the last time I won a cars race other than this season was in 2021. And, the confidence was low, but we trucked into this year and just broke through. But, it just hit me like a truck, man. I'm probably going to cry some more as soon as I talk to him. He was here today, but he had to leave because he's got to be at work in the morning. So
that win, man, that video of you, I mean, you broke down in the car, but the video of you getting out their car and seeing just the elation and the excitement, because like you said, you're passionate about what you do. It's your job, but it's also something you love. And seeing what could possibly be, the end of the road right there. And now all of a sudden, and then you get the Ram thing. And I want to add this, the way you won there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of fans out there, and since they introduced the points program after Matt Kenseth won a championship without winning a race, people have always picked apart the points. Oh, well, if it was the Winston Cup points, and if it was like this, and it wasn't the playoff gimmick and everything. I'm a Keselowski fan. Keselowski won his championship in 2012 and would have won it with the Winston Cup championship point system. So haters, shush. And my boy Minnie here won the race for the seat. You weren't out there winning everything. You won it tried and true by gathering points and coming out ahead. I mean, congratulations and kudos to you. Now,
a lot of people
racing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of people and there was a lot of backlash online with how the point system worked, and I just think a lot of people didn't truly understand the grading scale of the show, right? We had our group set, which got set in the Legend Cars at Ace Speedway, was our first event where everybody got a chance to go out there and run laps in the Legend Car, and the fastest guys would be in our group, and then the intermediate would be A group, and then the slowest guys would be in the M group, which RAM, you can put that together. But I was in the R group and stayed in the R group consistently until the Legends in South Boston. But that group, you raced a race in your group because we only had 5 cars per event. I mean, people don't understand how hard it is to bring 15 cars to every race or whatever the case is. I mean, that's RNS race cars did the late models. Kendall Sellers with AK Performance did the legend cars. Both those groups did a phenomenal job, and there was so many guys that worked, I mean, sleepless nights on the late models from day to day to bring them from a road course, which was VIR, to an oval track. I mean, that's two completely different setups, two completely different worlds. And did anybody ever think we would see late model stocks on a road course? I never thought of it in a million years, but it happened. Chris Rice, Colleague Racing, Matt Colleague, and the production company that put the show on made it happen. RNS Race Cars made it happen. I thought that was the coolest thing out of the entire show. But those races that we raced in our groups, that was what got us the points. And I feel like the people that were watching it, they would just see the end race, which the end race, all it meant was money and a trophy. It didn't have anything to do with points. It was the winner of the R, A, and the M group. All those 3 people, 3 cars racing for $5,000 and a trophy. And I didn't win a single driving like money trophy challenge. And again, these are short races. They were only a few laps at the end. And the heat races were a good bit of laps, or the points races, as I should say, was a good bit of laps. But the money races were like half the laps. You didn't get to qualify. You started where you drew the car. And I didn't ever drew a car that was started on the pole. So I was either on the outside pole or in the back. And typically, if you got strung out single file, which happened most of all the money races, that was kind of how it played out. But so I didn't win a single driving money race, but I won a multitude of the points races, which were the races that mattered. Those are the races that counted. And, I did very well on the off-track side of it and won the commercial challenge. That was big. That was a 15.1. And that's, if you look at it, like that's, even if you took the off the track scaling away from it, I'm pretty sure I went and added it all up with just the driving side of it. And obviously I didn't respond to the hating or whatever, because there was a bunch of people that were like, oh, he just won it because blah, blah, blah. He's not really that great of a driver. But if you do look at it, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but someone could go there and correct me. I'm pretty sure I won it tried and true just on driving, but I could be wrong. But again, everybody's going to say one way or the other, I can't drive, or this person can drive, I suck. But I don't care. It is what it is. It's the way the show was graded and the way it played out. I thought everything couldn't have gone better. I thought that the point scale was as fair as you could possibly make it. The cars, there was a lot of controversy on, was this car better? Was that car different? Was this whatever? Well, yes, every race car that you build, especially a late model or a legend car or a go-kart, whatever you're in, you cannot make each and every car or chassis identical. Every single driver is different. I have a different feel than Cade Brown has or Landon Huffman has in the late model stock. I like it different. Or Jared Fryer. They made every single setup on every one of those cars was as close as you could get. And after the legends at Ace, they were actually, all 5 of them were tested before we got there by Brendan Queen, who, as everybody knows, is a very talented late model racer. And he practiced every one. And every single car, like even leading up to the final event at South Boston, which determined the winner, was within 1/10 of a second. So that's about as close as you can get them. Like that's extremely close. So they were all very competitive and very fairly built. And everybody thinks that like, oh, it was scripted, this and that, because of how the ending worked, where it was between me and Carson Ferguson, and I won the points race, which got me the seat, and he ended up winning the money race. But it worked out perfectly. And me and Chris have talked about this too, like where since I dropped down a group because I finished 5th at South Boston in the Legends because I hit a cone twice in that chicane deal, which I wanted to wring Chris's neck when he made us do that. That was not my favorite, but me and him, we laugh about it to this day. But so I ended up dropping down to the A group because I ended up getting penalized and got 5th place points for that. So it worked out perfectly because what they did in that moment was said, okay, well now it's between Minnie and Carson. They're in different groups now, which that's how the entire show has been from the start. That you can't change it now and put us in the same group. But we can make them drive the same race car. And I thought when they told us that, I was like, that is the most fair thing we can do to see who's going to get the seat, right? So, and obviously, Carson Ferguson his background is, he's a dirt racer. He's not an asphalt late model stock car racer. I am. We're at South Boston Speedway. I've raced South Boston Speedway a multitude of times in the late model. So I had that experience that he didn't have. And everybody thought that obviously I took the 10 car. I won the race with it. And he took the 10 car and finished fifth with it. And I tried to help him and give him some pointers, but I knew immediately what adjustments I wanted to tell the guys to make to the car. I knew immediately how I needed it to feel. I knew what to do at South Boston. That's what I had the upper leg on. And it wasn't anything that was unfair, but I took the car that it wasn't handling great. It was a tighter race car, but I made it work. And because those cars is what I've been in for 10 plus years now leading up to this. So that's just how it went. But Carson ended up winning the end. He got a pretty good car and was able to start in the front and was able to stay there for the short money race, which wasn't just a short little money race. It was for $50,000. Let me tell you that. That's another $50,000.
And that Martinsville start too.
And the Martinsville start. So not only did Carson Ferguson, he finished second, sure, he didn't get the ride, but I got the seat. And again, that's why everybody's like, oh, this has to be scripted. I mean, I can promise you I was second for 99% of that race. If I could have passed him and won $50,000, I was going to pass him and win $50,000. That I just couldn't get to him. And that's everybody thinks it's scripted, but that's how
Corey LaJoy has dealt with enough of the haters over the years, and he's got genius words of wisdom, and basically what he says is, why are you going to take anything to heart that these people who got nothing, they got nothing to do but sit there and armchair quarterback. But so you win this thing, and then next thing you know, you're in a truck, and at this point you hadn't even started an ARCA race. So
yeah,
you got the ARCA race at Daytona, which, I mean, that's your first laps at Daytona, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It was indeed my first lap. So I actually, which is kind of how, I guess, what leaked me as the winner, because everybody kind of put two and two together that I did an ARCA test, which I had to do. So colleague racing got me paired up with Bruce Cook, who is currently my truck crew chief. And he owns Cook Racing Technologies and fields ARCA cars on a regular basis. And he put a ARCA car together. I got to spend a lot of time with him in the off season and helping get that car ready. And we took it to the test, and I tried to stay incognito as possible, but didn't. Everybody kind of put the two and two together if they knew anything about racing. So that did the ARCA test, got to do like 80 something laps, almost 100 laps around Daytona, in an ARCA car, which was really cool. That was really beneficial to me getting back there in a truck. So we showed up in February and ended up, I think we qualified 9th or something, or I can't remember, 8th in the ARCA race. And went there and raced a truck at Daytona for the first time and ended up getting a top 20 in the truck. The ARCA race didn't really work out that well. We ended up getting turned around and blew a tire, which in turn cut a brake line, and it just ended our day. But the truck race went great. We played it real smart, just trying to be conservative and didn't run through the pack and get torn up too bad. So we salvaged it and got a top 20 out of it. So for a truck debut, it went great. I wish I could have another shot at the ARCA race at Daytona. I thought we had a really good race car, but it is what it is. It's racing, and we'll just keep on moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, in Cook Racing too, they have a small team, right? They run the 17 car. Kaylee Bryson ran it a couple times last year. I'm a big fan of hers. Love what she's been doing. And then the fact that she's in, as a matter of fact, so Lime Rock posted on Facebook, who would you like to see in the Ram free agent truck at Lime Rock? And my first thought was Kaylee Bryson, y'all. She's driving a Weaver Motorsports Dodge Challenger in the TA series. And those things are badass race cars, right? I mean, all the TA cars are badass race cars. She's driving that. She's holding her own. First race of the season at Sebring, she gets a top 5. I was like, she's got a podium. She's running Mopar product. Put her in a free agent truck. So, Kaylee, you got a fan. I'm pulling for you in a free agent truck. But
you got a fan too. I haven't met her, but I would definitely like to see her get a start at Lime Rock in that truck. That'd be cool. Unfortunately, I know about as much as the public does when it comes to the 25 week by week. So I can't let you in on any insiders because I don't know. I usually get the, hey, here, I'm at the shop and like Corey LaJoy shows up. I'm like, oh yeah, you're racing Darlington, I guess. Yeah, man. So and especially when the posts come out. So I know about as much as that week to week as everybody else does. So they don't let us know. They kind of just say, hey.
I think that's one of the awesome things that Ram's doing as well, because it's like, what else can we do to make our first season back in trucks that much more entertaining? And the fact that, you've got Mini Tyrrell and the 14 truck, this young kid who, could have possibly maybe been like, you kind of essentially, I guess the way the route goes, it seems like people do ARCA stuff and then go from ARCA to trucks. Because we've got some friends that are in the ARCA series, and then the Caleb Costner and Greg Van Alls, Allie Owens. I think she's run trucks in the past, but anyways, so you get the truck ride. So the race for the free agent program, and some of the drivers too that they've had in the free agent seats. I mean, you come out the gates running with Tony Stewart. I mean, what was that like, running with Tony Stewart in your first truck race?
Yeah, no, that was super cool. I mean, obviously that's like a childhood kind of dream of mine, just because that was, seeing my name kind of associated with that is just so cool. But somebody asked me, they said, what was your favorite like old or early 2000s Cup Series schemes? First answer was the number 20 Home Depot car, driven by Tony Stewart. I just liked it because it was bright orange. I didn't really know much about Tony Stewart at that time, but I grew to love him because he was a bigger guy, but he didn't take any shit, if you know what I mean. Excuse my language, but didn't take any shit. And he was just one of those guys that was kind of reminded me of Earnhardt, just like a hard-nosed racer, knew what he want, and he didn't let anybody mess with him. And that was kind of how I wanted to be like him, So that was really cool to learn, obviously after getting the seat that, hey, Tony Stewart's going to be your teammate. And I was like, that's awesome. I've actually got a picture of me and Tony Stewart when I was probably 8 years old. I'm wearing my fire suit at the racetrack. I was at Richmond Raceway and seeing him come down for driver intros. And I remember like, hey, Tony, and he hands me his Coke, and it was like a plastic Coke bottle. And I took it and I looked at my mom and dad, and I thought it was cool. I got some pictures of him giving it to me and him tapping me on the head and walking by. I looked at my mom and dad. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, why did he give me this Coke? Right? Like, I'm a little kid. I don't know. And mom and dad are like, well, son, that's cool. Like, he gave you, that's his Coke. He was drinking it. Like, that's something that you hold on to. And I was like, okay. So to this day, I still have it. It's not with me right now, but I still have it. And that was, that was the story of Tony Stewart and me meeting. And I actually, when I went to Martinsville to meet Jeff, I found Tony and met him, one of my dad's favorite racers too, growing up. And I was walking around with resumes and I was handing them out to people because I wanted them, A, to come to my kickball tournament, and B, I wanted them to know that I was a racer. And So I gave Tony a resume. I said, hey, I want you to come to my kickball tournament. And he looks at me, and, the old Tony Stewart, he's like, all right, I'll think about it. He walks away. So I found him a couple of different times and throughout the weekend. And I every time I go up to him, I'm like, hey, you have that resume? Do you need another one? Because I don't see you walking around with it. So, and he got into an accident or a wreck that night, and he was all angry. And, Tony, he always had an attitude or something, but that was just him back in the day. And he was walking out of the racetrack. There was this whole line of fans that wanted to meet him, wanted to get things signed, and he didn't want to talk to nobody. And there was this disabled little boy in a wheelchair that my mom and dad had started talking with the parent and kind of got the backstory or whatever. And now he was standing with me or, next to me. And Tony comes walking by, and he really wanted to meet Tony Stewart. And he walked right on by him. So I chased after Tony, and I grabbed him by the sleeve. And he turns around, he spins around like someone's like trying to fight him. And he looks down, and, there I am, probably this tall, literally. He's like, and I grabbed him and I said, Mr. Stewart, there's a disabled child that wants your autograph. And he goes, doesn't say anything. He goes, okay, walks right on over, takes the time, signs something, takes a picture with him. And I said, thanks, Tony. And he walked away. So, and then I saw him at Richmond again. And that's when he saw me, recognized me, same little fire suit on and everything. And so when I got to race with him, I was like, hey, dude, like, do you remember this? And I showed him the picture. He's like, that was you? And I was like, that was me. And now I'm sitting here, and you're going to be my teammate. So that was a really cool kind of like old, story of me being a kid growing up and being a Smoke fan and getting to race with him was awesome. I'd love to see him come back and do it again. I wish he would. I don't know if he'll get back in another truck again, but just such a smart guy. He's been doing it for so long. He's so valuable to the sport, so valuable to a young guy like myself. And we're sitting in Chris Rice's bus before, the races, and did a little pre-team meeting, and all the drivers are in there, and Tony's sitting there, and we're all talking. Tony gives us great advice. I mean, Daytona was one of those places he was really good at. He's a phenomenal super speedway racer. And we're sitting there just talking. And Chris, at the end of it, he looks at me and he goes, that right there, you cannot buy. You cannot buy the knowledge you just gained listening to that man speak. And I'll forever take those words and that advice of Daytona and super speedway racing, and I'll never forget them. But I wish I got to get up on his back bumper and push him, but unfortunately got taken out early, and that really sucked. But just big shout out to Ram for what they did and getting him back in a truck and coming back and running Daytona. I mean, what bigger of a stance can you make it other than, A, Rams back in NASCAR, but B, putting Tony Stewart in a truck. Like, that was just so cool. And just so thankful to Ram and Colleague Racing for everything they've done for me. This year has been just an absolute blast, and it's a total dream, and I'm living it out every single day. And I just want to continue to prove to them that, hey, I can represent Ram trucks as best to anybody. And I hope that, I can continue to build this relationship. And I hope that Colleague Racing is a forever home for me. I hope I continue racing in the national series with them. And I hope to continue racing for Ram, because I hope I'm not letting them down and just doing all I can to be better for them. And I want to get Ram to victory lane here soon enough.
Well, I've got a friend that works at Colleague, and he works with the trucks, and I'm not gonna shout him out because he knows who he is, but he has told me that your trucks are coming back, and he's not having to do as much work on your trucks as he had feared at one point he was going to have to do. So, the fact that you're bringing them home and intact, saving the guys at the shop a little bit of work, that means a lot to them. And it's great for us, the fans, especially the Mopar no car diehards that are just reveling in the moment, Like a lot of people are already looking ahead to when is the Charger coming back to Cup? And dude, just live for the moment. You know, you may not be here for that moment, so why not just watch these sexy, manly trucks, these Ram 1500s going around the track? And
right.
So that having been said, Minnie, this is the point of our show where you've already shared so much of your story with us, and I want to thank you for that. We give all our guests a white flag. It's the last lap of the show, and if there's anything else that anybody you want to shout out, anything else you want to say to the sponsors or to anybody that's helped you along, this last little section of the show is yours. So, producer Josh, give our man the white flag.
There's the white flag. Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I said, so super thankful to Ram and Colleague Racing for everything they've done for me. They've changed my life completely. And, you know, all the partners that are behind our truck teams and that help us and make it possible for a guy like myself to compete in the NASCAR Crash and Truck Series. Just huge thanks to Celsius, Official, Action Industries, Leaf Filter Gutter Protection, Grizzly Nicotine Pouches for coming on board these last 2 races. It's been a pleasure having them. And just everybody that has a bit and piece in this deal and that's involved with Colleague Racing. I can't thank all of them enough for what they do. And just like I said, it's so cool. That show was so cool. Just giving 15 guys a shot to, like I said, that we all had that in common of not maybe having the funds to go compete at this level. And, you know, I didn't, and they took a chance on a small town kid that was a late model racer. And now they're elevating me to this platform and giving me all the resources and tools necessary to be successful. So, I just can't thank Matt Colleague enough for everything he does for Colleague Racing, and Chris Rice for all he does, being a phenomenal leader and a biggest hype man up and down pit road. He comes to me every single time and tells me I did a great job. So just super thankful to have such a great group of people. All the guys in the shop, like you mentioned, you know, people don't see behind the scenes of how hard they work. And that's kind of what I'm doing. As soon as I leave here, I'm going to go visit those guys and see if there's anything I can do to help them. But they all work so hard, and every single man and woman at Colleague Racing, for everything they do, everybody's working their absolute tails off to make us drivers look good. And I don't have enough thanks. I couldn't do enough to show my appreciation for how hard they work.
Well,
and thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, no,
I don't think I ever commented on that beautiful mini Tyrrell shirt that you're wearing. Number one, thank you for buying one. Number two, if anybody wants any mini Tyrrell merch, go to the Colleague Racing merchandise store online and click on your boy Mini on that tab. You check out some shirts, buy some hats. You can buy this white Colleague tethered hat right here that I'm wearing. It's actually my favorite hat. It's super comfortable. So
it's clean. It looks good on you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't gone out and bit the bullet on a pre-order on a mini Tyrrell truck yet.
Yeah,
but I'm waiting for, and I've commented on my the Facebook quite regularly, that I'm waiting for that mini Tyrrell that's got the die cast with the confetti, you know?
Yeah.
The race win die cast. That's the one I'm waiting for. That's the one I want. But
well, I'm very excited. Coming up is Rockingham. I did my rookie test there and got a lot of laps. So I'm very excited for Rockingham, excited for Bristol, excited to get to North Wilkesboro Speedway, where I've had a ton of laps in a stock car there before. So we get to some of these little places, and where that's my bread and butter, I'm hoping to really show the world what we can do and take these Rams. They're fast, man, but they need the driver to step up a little bit and put them to the front. So we're gonna try to take our Ram 1500s and get them up there and get you a die cast with some confetti on it. So
yeah, and then I'm gonna have to track you down and get an autograph on it. So
yeah, no problem at all. We can make that happen.
That having been said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this interview. I want to remind you right now to like, comment, and subscribe. Help us battle the savage YouTube algorithm, so that way all the boys and girls that have been good their whole lives and need a treat can get us and get smiles and feel warm feelings in their hearts. If you're listening in the audio realm, please rate and review. And in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, Corey the Joy is going to take us home.
Let me read Hebrews 12:1 real quick. Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw up everything that hinders and the sin so easily entangles. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Let's freaking go.